Right, ledges. Can everybody hear me? And can you see my chart? Let me know when you can, and we'll go. So it's quick audio visual check. Okay. Once I get the green light, we'll get stuck in. Okay, let's go. So before we begin, let's get the necessities out the way with. So welcome to the weekly live Bitcoin update video. Before we start, I just want to say thanks to our sponsor, PrimeXBT, for making this happen. You can show them some appreciation by signing up to their platform using the link in the description. If you use the code TraderSZ, you'll also get a 50% deposit bonus. Finally, just a reminder that nothing discussed today constitutes financial advice, and you should always do your own research before doing any kind of investing or trading. Right, let's go. So I hope you're all doing well. Everybody having a good weekend? So let me get my pen, my magical pen tool sorted. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the plans from last week. Okay. Listen, you can see it's 10:25. Forget it's good enough. That's all that matters. So we'll go over the plans from last week. Okay. And then we'll map out the plans going forward. So not much really happened apart from down, up, and we're around the weekly open. So let me make sure everything's going. Yeah. Okay. Let's go. So from last week, if you remember, one of the plans was we're going to take the trade, if you look back at last week's video, below here. Let's go to the H1. What is that level? So I'm mapping out specific, clear-cut, easy scenarios, easy plays. Yes, there's like 5-10 other plays as well. But for me, I mean, I'm doing it from a base where I'm working with what I've got for now, for next week. For the following week, so it's just what's clear to me. Okay, easy setup. And the easy setup was, I said if it can get below here, then we're gonna look for the short, which was our range low. It got below there, gave us the trigger. What was our targets? Target 1 there and target 2 there. That went to plan. Okay, and I did tweet then. Before that, I said I took some off here. They hit that major target, try to find support. It was going to be a major support level anyway. Why? Because unless they nuke through it, it was going to be a main support level because consolidation here. It held quite well, so I closed majority of it at 10.3. It then bounced, and then my second setup to get in was relax. Let me get through it. I'll get through it. Say all the question till the end. Okay. So 1 second. Yeah. So the second setup was below here. So I've tweeted that this was happened afterwards, and I waited. Once I took off most of it, I said, okay, I've still got downside target. Okay, I'll wait for the next setup, and it unfolded. I think on the 23rd. And if you look back at my charts, you'll see that setup there posted. And it was just to get on board from there. Play towards the rest of the target. Okay, so what I was looking for was further downside. I then, once I exited that, I took a loss myself. I tried to be a hero. I thought we were gonna get the breakout play here, which I should have exited, but I wasn't feeling well that day. But I gave some of that profit back. But overall, it was a decent week. So that was last week. Okay, it is done. What do we do this week? So let's start with a bit of a clean chart. Okay, go over some of the levels, and what do I see? So sometimes nice start fresh. Let's go back. So we're approaching near the end of the month now. So after today, we've got about 3 days left. And then we've got new quarter, new month. So a lot to work with then. So let's see. We're at the quarterly, we're right around last quarter high. Okay, we're right around there. Just trading around there, nothing much is happening. With Bitcoin, I mean, things can change within a day. So nothing surprises me. So I'm waiting. But that's nothing much that can be gained from that. Let's go to the monthly. And on the monthly, we're trading more or less around previous month's low. So I'll be surprised if we go all the way back up here. At this stage of the month, I'll be really surprised if we move up to here. I'm expecting it to trade probably within here. but we'll see what happens. So the key levels on the monthly, before we go back to our levels, so you know that had these levels since the beginning. Nothing changes. Why? Because we've been trading within this range. If there's no change, when if price is stuck within here, there's no change. There's not much you need to change then. So you know exactly each level to work with. It's only the intraday or day trade levels as the week unfolds you add, remove. But the main levels, which are these, never change for me. So anyways, going back to my point is, what are the key levels here? And let's map them out. So map out the higher time frame levels again. It's going to be that level there. And what's capping the upside is going to be that level there. And then after that level, say we come back below here. So this is just on the monthly. If we break back below here, so some of what I'm saying is going to be repeat, but it's going to lead up to my next plan. If we get back below here, what's the next level? There. So let's draw that out. Okay. So that's on a monthly basis, and obviously last month's low. So now let's go down to the lower time frame, weekly. What have you got? And as you can see on the weekly, nothing's happened, really. Okay, we're within last week's range. We took out last week's low, and we're not that far off the weekly open. So it's just directional, less for me. Other than short-term day trading, there's no directional breakout just yet. So nothing much to gain from that. Let's go down to the daily now. And on the daily again, after Monday's range was formed, and that was the main play for me. Main play this is the Monday's leg, Monday's candle, and that was the initial setup, the downside setup I posted. It did its thing, and I said the breakout play will probably be below here. If it got below here, then we can talk about the breakout play. It's just gone back in the range. So what do we do in this case? Okay, so without going into too much detail, I'll do simply first. Okay, I accept the fact that this is a massive support level. This was a huge consolidation. Okay, we're getting a retest off of that. But at the same time, this is a big resistance level. So for me, we are within here really. I mean, obviously we can get smaller, tighter ranges like here and then here. But for now, we're within here. So for me, easy bullish scenario, which I mentioned before, would be, just from this, would be clean break above here. If it then makes a clean break above here and holds, then I would say, okay, we're going to go a lot higher. And probably start testing 2019 high, which is about here. Not here really. Yeah, 2019 high here. Last year's high. And then after that, who knows? We could push a lot higher. Maybe around here and then there. But for now, we have to accept, trade what we're seeing. Okay, and what we're seeing is we're stuck within here, the bigger range. And then we zoom in now and say, okay, where are we within? And with that, we are within here. More or less, okay? So we're just stuck now, nothing much to do other than day trade it. Now, if you want, I'm not going to look at these for me. I know people say higher low, it means fuck all to me. While we're within the range, these higher lows, that means nothing. It's only if we're trending in environment, and then I personally put more attention towards higher lows, higher highs. That's just the way I personally do it. But even if it was a higher low, that's not a daily, it doesn't mean nothing, because my trigger is something completely different. Okay? So, because I had a question before, we're creating high low, I said, okay, that's fine. Doesn't mean nothing to me, but just me personally. Because I know, bigger picture, we're still stuck here. And I could say, well, this is a lower high then, if it starts to turn. So, but it doesn't mean nothing, it's just ranging. So, easy cut scenario, as I said, either break off here, or a clean break below here. Then we've got obvious targets of here, and then these lows here. I'd be really surprised if you don't take out these lows if you're going to pull higher. Don't get me wrong, bigger picture, I'm very, very bullish Bitcoin. And for me, I'd feel more confident going for a big long if you took out these levels here. If you did that, and then got back above. And what this reminds me of, okay, if it was to invert that, like I said, don't put too much attention onto fractals. But you know, see this sort of price action here, just showing you now, because what I'm going to shoot, this high here. I think it makes more sense to just take that and then drop. And it reminds me of a while back, the price action does, which was here. It reminds me of what's happening here, similar to this, where, just an example I'm seeing stands out to me. Took out these highs here, so that was the inverted. But again, just something to look at. Okay, so going forward, what about short-term long scenarios? How would I look for that? So short-term long scenarios, the longer it ranges within here, I get more and more uncomfortable unless I'm scalping. So my aim is to give you more directional plays. It's hard to give a directional play if you're really stuck within the range for so long, okay? Because the probability of a breakout increases as time goes on. So I get less confident on playing that range until we break out. I'll up for the breakout. But just from this chart alone, it would be above here. So if we got above here, whatever levels we've got here, the lower time frame which I'll get into, that would be a higher probability long for me. And then below here, higher probability short for me. So from there, play target 1 towards there, target 2 towards here. And if you broke above here and held, first target would be towards here and then there. So before I continue, is everybody clear with what I've gone over so far? So I'm not giving no triggers or anything. I'm just going over, building like a bigger picture for myself, showing you my thought process. Is it making sense so far before I continue? The detail we'll get onto in a minute soon. Yep. Okay, so that's just my bigger picture thought process. What am I thinking about the market? Why I'm uncomfortable with certain plays. Okay, so let's go down now. Use those same levels. Let's go down to lower down. So lower down, I mean, another reason why if we do get a breakout to the downside, okay, why is this pen tool? If we do get a breakout below here, and if we do get the breakout short trigger, why is it that I like this low here? Is because it's the mid range of 2020. I've been over this before, and often the mid range is a big magnet for price. Okay, so if we do get below there, I think this would be too easy of a buy. Everybody's gonna be eyeing that. Usually, if it's gonna have a bigger move, okay, a bigger move, usually some bigger move like this. So here, this was an easy buy, wasn't it? I spoke about this last time. This was an obvious buy, but it's better to nuke it, then reclaim it, then go up. That would make more sense to me. Okay, and then that I feel more confident doing that with a bigger play. But only if it breaks below that would the play from there to there be valid for me. Obviously, I would be taking something out here, and then at that point, if it did come into here, then some consolidation here, and then something like this to go up higher. But again, I can map out all these squiggly lines. It doesn't mean fuck all. Okay, that's a plan. That's a plan. It's just a longer term outlook that if it does get here, then I understand why, because 2020 mid range, these stops here. Let's see where it happens. So let's go down now and go back to this chart. First, let's look at this chart first, because this chart is going to play a role into next week. And I tweeted earlier, if you remember, that Monday's range held the market. Okay, so we're stuck within Monday's range. So just to show you that before I continue, oopsie daisy. So Monday's high, Monday's low, and there's nothing you can't really argue bullish or bearish bigger picture for this. Either come to a key level. Anybody can map out any excuse for a key level, but the fact is we're still range bound. We accept that. So what do we do here? So the clear cut break would be, for me, would be scenario 1 is using the Monday's range. I mean, just be aware this is the Monday's range. Monday's high, Monday's low. We're stuck within here. Let me go back to this chart and show it to you. So just go back down. Scenario 1 is, okay, using the same range levels, okay, using the same range levels. This is for the short scenarios, and then I'll go to the long scenarios. For the short scenario would be, this is Monday's high. Let me just confirm that. Yeah, okay. So scenario 1 was, what did I say previously? That every time, for the long scenario, every time it deviated below here, the range high, below here, the long scenario, I waited for confirmation. Back above this daily pivot, it was a long. Every time it dips below it, long. Until it made a clean break below here, okay? Until it makes a clean break below here, this was for buying, okay? So I described, it's gonna be more apparent, make more sense when I explain the short side. But every time it came here, it's a key support level until this broke. If you remember, go back to the weeks that I was doing these videos, and you'll see what I meant by them. So then the confirmation comes in. That was the daily pivot. It got back above another key level, whether you want to call it a breaking market, structure pattern, whatever, entry pattern, you know. It got back above. It was long. It got back above, long. Exact same pattern each time. So I'm looking for the same thing to the downside now. This level. That's why I said, remember, if you remember, I said, where am I comfortable with the shorts? I'm only comfortable once if it deviates this level, only if it gets back below that. So from last week I said I'm not comfortable shorting it here. Okay, this is my gray area, and this is only, obviously you can short it, but I'm looking for the easy cut, high probability plays. So if I was aggressive, I probably would have shorted there, and then as it broke this level confirmation, I'm trying to give the more easiest confirmation plays. Okay, so once it got back below this level, it proved itself to be a deviation. Okay, yes, give it a like. Come on, don't be some stingy fuckers. Give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. Okay, you're gonna find this kind of shit. So anyways, once you go back below here, then got the trigger, whether you want to take it there or whether you want further confirmation, which was this key level here, if you remember, because this was resistance. Actually, let's zoom in. So this is where the trigger's gonna come in, so pay attention here. Resistance, support. So if you didn't like it here, okay, you could have easily have gone for it. Oh, my pen tool fucking up. So if you didn't like the trigger there, but once it breaks back below it and holds, then that says to me, okay, we've broken out the range. Okay, and because it's been a couple of times we attempted it, and we've took out the stop run, breakdown, then the next breakdown, and you anticipate that to hold. So okay, that entering here would mean is because you've got the violation level set. Okay, and then targets are mentioned. If you then wanted further confirmation, okay, then a break below here is just further confirmation then. So if you're saying to me, I don't like the setup here, then I can take it there. And that's why, if you look at the chart posted, you had an arrow there, then you had an arrow there as well. That's up to you. Again, I'm going to be looking for the same thing. I'm not comfortable looking for the longs here. I don't want to I'm flat at the moment. I'm not taking no position at the moment. Obviously, it's Sunday. I'd rather wait. But looking for the exact same play. So where are the stops going to be resting? Okay, here, short term. And then obviously we've got the Monday's high. Okay, so what am I going to be doing? I'm going to wait. I want it to pop to the upside. Let it pop to the upside. Okay, however high it wants to go, I don't care. I know that this is my gray area. Okay, I'm not going to be trading here. I'm going to let it do its thing. And then if it does that and gets back below, well, one could argue consolidation turns to support. Okay, so if you're not able to if you're not comfortable with a short there, in my opinion, that would be technically valid. Okay, I'll see how price unfolds, but if it's done the stop run and it's gonna go, then that would be technically valid. But if you wanted further confirmation, you could argue the case that okay, consolidation, or you got the retest. But if it's a retest there, you wait for the breakdown below that then, and then that for me, in my opinion, would confirm the high is in. Where would I target? I'd go for the same targets again. There. So one way I would personally could approach it is, okay, if I still thought it was valid, I could say I'll do small size here, okay, to load up small size there, and then I'll add the rest there and further confirmation. That's a choice you make. But then the downside objectives would be back into here as first target, and then secondary targets towards the 99.70. Let me remind you what that 99.70 level is. It's the quarterly level. It's a magnet for price, and we discussed this last time if you remember. The quarterly levels, that level here, here, and here. And just a quick little brief recap before I continue with my plans. We can see the effectiveness of the ones. I know it's a bit lighter colored, but it is where it is. Between here, you know, quarterly level, see how price was behaving. So that would be a natural magnet for price. So take our stops into here, and then we'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to break out or not. This could be, this could just keep doing this, like here, for all I know. So till it breaks out, that's when I get the high probability. But if it's going to be that, you got to recognize the high time frame levels. And so getting back to our point, however high it wants to do, whether it wants to take this out, whether it wants to swing fair this even, I don't care. I know once it does its thing, like here, when it came here, I wasn't going to buy. But once it got back above, that says to you in violation, as in the run lower is done, then the high probability longs, target, each time exactly the same thing. What am I doing here? Whatever I was doing here, it's the inverse, isn't it? Can everybody see that before I continue? So let it do its thing. And again, I'm trying to explain to you the most easiest way, simplified way. Obviously you can refine it with your own techniques. You can add confluence to it. This is just a basic blueprint. The rest, entry techniques, you can use whatever you're using. If it lines up with your style, happy days. If it doesn't, leave it alone, fuck it off, switch off. But so I can start looking for it there. But with the structure we've got, confirmation would be here, and then first target, and then secondary target. Now for the breakout play, if we are going to break out, it's not a breakout till I think we get back below this low here. So we can see this level was capping it, which is overlapped with the quarterly level. So unless we make a clean break below here, then, and if we do, then I said breakout play. And if this was used for buying previously, this consolidation, coupled with these levels here, I'll be looking for my short trigger there. And then next downside would be here, and then that could be a target. And then if it breaks below it, we'll look for another setup, or to compound, or to get back in. If this was an SR level previously, you can see the importance of that. Okay, you can see that support, resistance. Once it deviated it, go back below it, sold off toward this level. It's done that each and every time. Then I'll be looking for these targets here, which would then nuke these levels, and then I'll see what happens then. I don't know after that. Okay, so is everybody clear with the downside plays? John, you'll have to watch the videos I've done previously, and then you'll understand where I got my bias from. So this is the 8th video I've done for Prime. So if you watch that, you'll understand. Okay, so you gotta go back for that. So is everybody clear that? Now I want to go for the long scenarios, and again it is the same, but not much I can do. So as for the long scenarios, nothing's changed. Where do I feel confident on the longs personally? Unless it's scalping, okay, that's different. I'm looking for a directional play. Okay, my directional play would be just like I wasn't comfortable. It's a gray area. If it gets back above here, okay, if it gets back above here, then at that point I don't think it's gonna be a short term long. I think it's gonna be a swing long. Okay, but my swing long, I'd be more comfortable above here. So again, why not this level here? Why not this level? So I'm going to highlight this consolidation. Reason why is because this is the consolidation, this big selling here that led to a big breakout. So when it come here, I didn't directly buy it because I didn't know it could easily deviate deeper. But once it got back above, that's when I was comfortable. Because any movement into here, this could be another sell. This could be a swing failure. So you can ask the question, well, would this be a long setup? Now, if I was bullish, right now I'm sort of neutral. I know you keep seeing me start putting short scenarios, but it's below a certain level. I'm only gonna, the probability of certain setups are high probability short for me. That's why. But if I was in a bullish scenario, okay, a breakout of this level is technically a buy. But for me, the higher time frame still suggests lower for now until proven otherwise. Okay, so I'm neutral in the sense where I'm not gonna hard swing short. Okay, but again, it's just everything still points to me lower until proven otherwise. This would be a high probability. This would be a valid long, but I wouldn't take it because of the context. The context puts me off from taking this long. Okay, that's why. However, if this exact same setup was happening here, I'd be all over it. So that's for me. I'm trying to say is patterns mean nothing. Patterns for me are only entry excuses. I sometimes blindly enter here. Like as soon as I break this, boom, I'm in. With no pattern. Why? Because I know the context suggests after all this has happened, when I explained the previous weeks, that once the range break, that's it. So one could say, oh, that's a break of a moving average. That was a break of an order block. That was a break of this. That's whatever excuse. That's fine. But it's just an entry excuse for me. Okay. So I'll be looking at this as a pattern failure, and if it fails, then like that. Okay. So back to my point is, where would I feel comfortable for the longs? I'd have to wait for it here, unless unless it was like I had a Monday's range to work with for the week, and then I could scalp it both ways. But I prefer scalping once the new week starts. Once the new week starts, and maybe once Monday unfolds, that's when my probabilities for my system and my scalping increases. I'll wait for that. But as it stands now, what I'm going to be waiting for is, see again, like you know why I don't want to buy this, but because this is still like you can call it demand if you want. Okay, consolidation, sell off. So this could be another run into resistance. But if it consolidated here, just like here, and broke above and held, then I'd say, okay, I'm going to be going for the longs then. Break above, hold above this level, that's when my long, again, what was the high probability objectives? Once you go back above here, this is got to be first objective because it's still a key level. You can't deny that. As much as I, at that point, wanted to rock it up $3,000 in one go, got to be realistic. Breakouts until it breaks out. Target one there. And then, in my opinion, most likely probably go for these highs here. Okay. Now at that point, we'll have to see how we are. Okay, because I don't know. But bigger picture scenario, going back to this chart, when's the breakout play? So at that point, see if you got above here, then that would also take us above this level, wouldn't it? That I mentioned for our longs, but just above it. So at what point would the swing triggers for me be ready? Maybe a day trade for if it gave me a day trade here, it could evolve into a swing, but that's fine because the consolidation here, that would then become a deviation. And at what point is that confirmed? Only if that happens. And at that point, that's when I get into mega bullish mode, and that's when we start going for mean targets. Okay, so that's my bullish, bearish, and bullish scenarios. Is everybody clear with that? Everybody clear with the plans? Exactly what I need to see for the short, and exactly what I need to see for the longs, and why. Because I think last time somebody asked me, you missed that, you would miss out on this. Yeah, that's fine. I don't care if I miss out. I know exactly what my high probability trade is. And to make up for missing out on certain moves, because I know these setups are high probability, like I showed you, go back a couple of weeks, nearly every setup, my plan I mentioned with the arrow there, if you look, it's played out. Nearly everyone that triggered. That would mean to me I can just up my risk then, can't I? So I can have a strategy where it's got a low risk to reward, or low, strike rate, but that would mean I have to adjust my risk, don't I? But if I've got something with a really high, decent strike rate, I just up my risk, okay? But again, this is just one of many strategies, the clear ones. So are there any questions before we wrap things up? I think I've explained it pretty clear, just to wrap up. Above here, if you get above here, look for bullish trigger, target 1 and target 2, and then after that we'll have to see how far it goes, after reassess. And then to the downside, target 1. Yep, that's the basics. Okay, any questions before I go? Okay, so I'll catch you guys soon. Okay.